How are you guys doing? Welcome to day one of Honors Precalculus. Today we're going to be talking about factoring. But before I start, I'm just going to let you know this is going to be an accelerated pace and it's going to be for advanced students. So my recommendation, if you're going to be in part of this program, is you have taken Precalculus and you got an A in it, or you took Honors Precalculus already. Okay. So let's start. So we're going to do prove number 1, a squared plus b squared c squared plus d squared. As I mentioned, this is going to be an accelerated pace, so if you feel like need to pause the video, feel free to do so. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prove the right is equal to the left hand side. So I'm gonna say the right hand side that's proving to the equal to the left hand side. Right? So this is the right, this is the left. So let's do this. So we're gonna FOIL this. So you have a squared c squared plus b squared d squared. Nope. Okay, plus 2acbd plus b squared d squared. Then we have here, we have plus a squared d squared minus 2adbc plus b squared c squared. Okay, as you notice here and here, this will cancel. So you have a squared c squared plus b squared d squared plus a squared d squared plus b squared c squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to combine these guys. I mean, put them in, what do you call this? Combine them. b squared d squared plus b squared c squared. So what did I do is just I arranged them. I combined a's and then I combined the b's. Okay? So why did I do that? So I can factor by grouping, right? So here I can factor by grouping. So I can factor out an a squared. So what's left is c squared plus d squared. Here I can factor out a b squared. You have d squared plus c squared. And then I just factor out what's called the GCF. So you have c squared plus d squared. And what's left, you have a squared plus b squared. That's it. And I proved the right hand side is equal to the left hand side. Equal. That's it. Okay. Let's do some factor. Okay. Let's go. Okay. So we have 2x cubed minus 6x squared plus 12x minus 8. Okay, so how do I do this? And it's kind of hard to see, but I'm just going to move things around. Like, let's say I'm going to move this around here, -8 minus 6x squared plus 12x. Why did I do that? The reason why is maybe I can see a pattern here, or I can maybe factor out a GCF or something like that, or I can factor by grouping. And here, when I do that, I can really factor by grouping. So I'm going to factor this out. This is x minus 2, right? X squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 2x plus 4. Here I can factor out a -6, so x, so you have x minus 2 left, and you notice they both have an x minus 2, so I can factor out the GCF. What's left? You have x squared plus 2x plus 4 minus 6x. Now we just got to combine like terms. You have x squared plus 2x minus 4x plus, minus 4x plus 4. Okay, now, as you notice, here is what? It's a perfect square, right? This is x minus 2, x minus 2 square, and then you combine them, this is the x minus 2 cube. That's it. It's equal, 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 equal. Okay. Alright. So let's do another one. So we have, move it on, 3, 1/2 x cubed, minus 1 minus 1/2 x plus x squared. So what can I do? I could obviously group them, right? Combine the x squares, the x here and here, I'm going to combine them together. Oops, not that. Come on now. Come on now. Here, I can combine the 1/2 together. So we have 1/2 x cubed minus 1/2 x. Then here, I'm going to switch them around. So I'm just going to put this order first. You have plus x squared minus 1. Why did I do that? You'll see right now. So we have 1/2 x, right? The GCF, factoring out using factor by grouping. So you have x squared minus 1. As you notice here, it's the same thing, right? X squared minus 1. And when you notice, there's really a 1 here. So you can put a 1 there if you like. But now you just factor out GCF. You have x squared minus 1. And then what's left? You have 1/2 x. What's left? We just have 1 left, right? Now we gotta expand this. This is x minus 1. X plus 1. This is 1/2 x plus 1. That's it. There you go. So number 4. Okay. So what can I do? I can the goal is to factor out GCF. This will make it somewhat easier. So I'm going to factor out 0.01, right? If I do that, this will become 8,000. X cubed, this will be minus 1. Right now we can see that's, I think it's a little bit easier. So now we just break this down. So this is going to be really 20. X, right? So let me write it here. Let me do another step here. So this is really 0.01. This is going to be in that form 20 x cubed minus b cubed. See that? 20x cubed minus b cubed. See? So this is really in the a cubed minus b cubed, right? You can see that. Now, using that, I'm going to start to factor. So this is 20x minus 1, right? Then there will be 400x squared plus 20x plus 1. And that's it. So let's go with number 5. So how do I factor this? Well, it's kind of hard to see that at first, but what I can do is complete the square. So what I'm going to do is, if I look at this, x squared 4 plus 4, I can kind of see like maybe there's a perfect square there somewhere. So let's do that. So if I have plus 3x, nope, not plus 3x, come on, plus 4x squared minus x squared, and then you have plus 4. Why did I do? Is basically this 3x squared is really the same thing as 4x squared minus x squared. And why did I do that? Basically because I wanted to get a perfect square. So I notice here you have x to the 4 plus 4x squared plus 4 minus x squared. I just rearranged them. Now I can see this is a perfect square. This is x plus 2 x squared plus 2 squared minus x squared. Now in this form, this is a squared minus b squared. My a is going to be x squared plus 2. My b is going to be x. So a minus b. Then we have a plus b. Right? And I can even arrange this if I want to. You have x squared minus x plus 2. Oh, my writing. My writing is so bad. Okay, plus, what is it, 2? Minus x, so I can rearrange this. This is going to be x squared minus x plus 2. And you have x squared plus x plus 2. And that's it. I keep forgetting equal, but yeah, it is equal. So let's do another one. So when we first look at it, we're thinking about factoring by grouping because you have 4 terms, right? But you can't really do that. So there's many ways to factor by grouping, so we're going to apply that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to separate these into negative x minus 6x plus 6. Just separate this to this, okay? So why did I do that? I see here I can actually factor by grouping, so that's what I'm going to do here and here. So let's do that. So I can factor out of what? An x here, we have 2x squared minus x plus 1. Here I can factor out a negative 6, right? So you have x minus 1 left here. Let's see what I do. If I factor this, you have 2x, right? You have x minus 1 plus 1. And when I do that, what do you notice? They both have an x minus 1. There's many ways to do this, but yeah, you just gotta play around with it until you can see a pattern how to factor. So you have x minus 1 outside. What's left? You have x times 2x plus 1, and then minus 6, right? Then I gotta, I gotta distribute. You have 2x squared plus x, right? Minus 6. Now, can this factor? Yes, it does, right? So you have 2x. And x, you have minus what? Minus plus 2, minus 3. And that's it. There you go. So if you feel like you need to pause the video at some point, feel free to do that. Okay? Now, number 7. Okay, so what I need to do, factor out the GCF. We look at the numbers first. What can I factor out from 1/2 and 3/2? I can factor out 1/2, x to the negative 1/2, x to 1/2. I can factor out x to the negative 1/2, 3x plus 4 to the 1/2, 3x. I can factor out 3x plus 4 to the negative 1/2. So what's left? The 1/2 goes, factor out the 1/2, so that's, I want to say gone, but yeah, factor it out. And now x to the negative 1, I factor that out also here. I factor out negative 1/2 to 3x plus 4, so I gotta add 1/2 here. So this is 3x plus 4 here. Since I factor out a 1/2, this is gonna be minus 3. I factor out the 1/2 from this, so I have to add 1/2 from this. It's just x. So in this one, I factored out already, right? So we just have that. What can I do? You see this? I can simplify this, right away. So let's do that. And here, anything from a negative goes on the bottom. So on the top would just be 4, and the 2 also goes on the bottom. And then 2x to the 1/2, and then you have 3x plus 4 to the 1/2. There you go. Now I can simplify 4 and 2, right? So you have 2 over x to the 1/2. You have 3x plus 4 to the 1/2. That's it. Equal, equal. Okay, now let's do another problem. Find the value. Number 8. Find the value. So we have 10, 30 squared minus 10 squared. So how do I do this? So I know this is a difference of squares. You have a squared minus b squared, so this is going to be a plus b, right? So what is a plus b? You have 1030 plus 1020. You have a minus b, which is 1030 minus 1020. This is really just 2050, right? Then times 10, so we're just adding 1 0 to that. So this would be what? 20,500. That's it. So there you go. Let's do some practice problems. Okay? Okay. So if you each problem that I'm going to do now is very similar. Okay? So just if you don't know how to do it, go back to the video and see how to do the problem. Number 1, prove EB. And also here, I want you to pause the video and try it out yourself. Okay? So if you get one thing wrong and then, figure out why. If you need to go back to the video, go back to the video. Okay. So how do I do this? This is AB, by the way. We're trying to prove AB is equal to 1/2 a plus b squared minus a squared plus b squared. So I'm gonna, same thing I did the last time, I'm gonna put the right hand side is equal to the left hand side. So this is 1/2. Okay, this is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared minus a squared minus b squared. What do you notice? The a squared, b squares cancel. So you have 2ab left, right? So you have 1/2 parentheses. You can put a parentheses 2ab. And this is just ab. And there you go. We just proved it. Okay, next one. X cubed minus 3x squared plus 3x minus 1. Yes, okay. Factor that one. If you're not sure how to factor this, go back to example 2. It should be very similar. So what should I do? What did I do with the example I did earlier? I combine the x cubed minus 1 or x cubed minus 8. I'm going to do the same thing here. So you have x cubed minus 1. Maybe I can see the pattern. If not, just try something else. It's 3x, right? So now I can factor by grouping. Boom, boom. So this is what I can factor out here. I'm going to factor this. You have x squared plus x plus 1. Here I'm going to factor out what? Negative 3x. This would be x minus 1. What do you notice? You have x minus 1, x minus 1. That's the GCF. So you have x minus 1. What's left? You have x squared plus x plus 1. Then what? Minus 3x. Then here, when I combine like terms, I get x squared minus 2x plus 1. Right? What do you notice here? This is a perfect square. So you have x minus 1 squared. Then this is going to be x minus 1 cubed. equal. There you go. Okay. Still another one. So what I can do is basically look at example 3, what I did last time. It's a little different, I gotta say. But what can I do? Let's just say we now try to do it anyways. I'm gonna factor out what? QCF, right? So in this case, I can factor out a negative. So I'm gonna factor out negative 1/3. Yeah, then I'm going to bring it to the front. You get 3x squared minus 7x minus 6, right? Now, when I do that, now I got to factor this. This is 3x, and this is x. Then you got plus 3 minus 2, okay? And that's it. Now we have number 4. Okay. So pause the video if you have to, but really this is a cubed minus b cubed. This is the same thing as a 3a cubed minus what? B squared cubed, right? So I'm going to use that idea to factor this. So when I do that, you're going to get 3a minus b, then you have 9a squared, right? Plus 3ab plus b squared. Nope, not b squared. Not 3ab. Yep, 3ab squared. This is to the 4th. Right? And this is what? B squared. There you go. Okay. The next one. Number 5. Okay, let's see. How do I do this? When you look at example 5, you kind of see the same idea. I want to make a perfect square from x4 plus 9. But in order for me to do that, what can that be, right? I gotta what? I gotta make this a 6x squared. If I do that, to get a 2x squared, I gotta subtract 4x squared plus 9. Now I get a perfect square plus 6x squared plus 9 minus 4x squared. Okay? But you notice here, this is what? This is a perfect square, right? So this is x squared plus 3 squared minus 4x squared. This is really a squared, so this is going to be a squared minus b squared. So let's go with a minus b. So x squared plus 3 minus, what is b here? 2x, right? And let's go with a plus b. You have x squared plus 3 plus 2x equal. And I can even arrange this. So you have x squared minus 2x plus 3, x squared plus 2x plus 3. That's it. Okay. So how do I do this? Pause the video, try it out. There's many ways to do this, but what I decided to do is basically make this a negative 5x squared. If I do that, I'm going to add x squared, right? They're the same thing. This is the same thing as this. Why did I do that? Now I can think about factor by grouping here, and it's, it takes time to see that, and you just gotta play with it. There's more than one way to factor by grouping on this problem. So here I'm gonna see what? I'm gonna factor out x squared. We have x minus 5, and then what? Here, this factors, this is x minus 2, x minus 5. What do you know? They have something in common, which is what? X minus 5. And what's left? You have x squared here, then you have plus x minus 2. This actually factor, you have x plus 2, x minus 1. Equal, 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 equal. There you go. Equal. There you go. Still another one. Okay. So what should I do? Pause the video. When you look at example 7, it's pretty much the same thing as I did. So what do I do? Factor out GCF, 3, 2, and 1/2. What's the GCF? Just 1/2, right? Now, what about 2x minus 1 squared, 2x minus 1 cubed, 2x minus 1 squared? How about x plus 3 to the 1/2? X plus 3 to the negative 1 is x plus 3 to the negative 1/2. And what's left? So we have 3 times 2, which is 6. When I factor out 1/2, this becomes 12, right? And what's left? We took out negative 1/2 from x plus 3 to the 1/2, so we have to add 1/2 to this. So this is x plus 3. And here, what do? We took out square, so we have 1 left. You have 2x minus 1, right? And then we took out the 1/2. We took out the x plus 3 to the negative 1/2, and that's it. So here, we can combine like terms here, but before I do, I want to get the negative and put them on the bottom. So, and the 2 also, the 2x plus 3 to the negative 1/2, right? So now here, what's left? We have 2x minus 1 squared. Here, what's left is combining like terms. You have 12x plus 36 plus 2x minus 1. Now we gotta simplify that and we should be good. This is 14x minus plus 35. You have 2x plus 3. Oops. Remember when I bring it down, it becomes positive, right? Okay, so now what? 14 and 35 we can factor out as 7. So this is 2x minus 1 squared. And this would be 2x plus 5 and 2 over x plus 3. This is to the 1/2. This is to the 1/2. And that's it. Equal, 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 equal. Okay. All right. Find the value. All right, let's find the value. 122 squared minus 512. squared. So try it out. So when I do that, I have what here? This is going to be 122 a squared minus b squared, a minus b in this case. This would be a plus b, right? This would just be 2 times 242, right? And this would be what? 484. And that's it. There you go. So that's day 1 of honors pre-calculus.